Welcome back to Purposefully Living. I'm Mirriam K Musonda-Salati, and I'm so glad you're here. If you listened to the last episode with my guests, I really hope it brought you clarity and made purpose feel more real and practical. And if you're new here, welcome. You've joined at the perfect time. Today, I have 2 more guests joining me, and we're continuing this journey with fresh insight, real conversation, and practical takeaways you can actually apply. Our goal is simple: to help you understand your purpose more clearly and to help you start walking in it with confidence, consistency, and faith. So wherever you are right now, take a deep breath, settle in, and stay with us to the end, because this episode is going to bless you. Ready? Enjoy. And here are my 2 guest speakers.
It's that quiet, nagging feeling at 2 a.m., isn't it? You have the job, you have the routine. On paper, you are a functioning, successful adult. But you're staring at the ceiling thinking, is this it? Is this really all I'm supposed to be doing with the next 40 years?
It is the universal ache. It's what Viktor Frankl called the existential vacuum. We are busy, we are distracted, but underneath the noise, there is this hollow echo. We aren't necessarily depressed, but we are drifting. And drifting is dangerous, because you don't drift toward a destination, you drift toward rocks.
That's a terrifying image, drifting toward rocks while thinking you're just floating. Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. Today, we are stepping away from the daily grind to ask the big question: why are you here? And we aren't doing this alone. We are navigating this conversation using a really powerful guide, the book Identifying Your Purpose by Mirriam K Musonda-Salati. It's a book that doesn't just ask the question, but demands that you stop living accidentally.
It is a pleasure to be here, Layla. And you are right, Mirriam K Musonda-Salati's work is vital because she bridges a gap that we often trip over. We tend to think of purpose as this mystical, unreachable lightning bolt that only strikes special people. But Musonda-Salati argues that purpose is actually practical. It's a blueprint. It's not something you invent, it's something you detect.
That distinction is huge, detecting versus inventing. Because I think a lot of us feel the pressure to create a brand for ourselves. We live in the age of the personal brand. You have to curate your life. But you're saying Musonda-Salati, and frankly a lot of the great thinkers, see it differently.
Completely differently. If you look at the philosophy of Viktor Frankl, specifically in Man's Search for Meaning, he is very clear. Life is asking you a question. You are not asking life. You are the one being questioned. Your purpose is the answer you give with your actions. In Identifying Your Purpose, Musonda-Salati echoes this. She writes about purpose being God-given, meaning the intent was established before you even showed up. You don't buy a toaster and decide it's a lawnmower. The manufacturer decided its purpose. You just have to figure out how to plug it in.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate here. That toaster analogy is neat, but human beings are complex. We change, we evolve. If I'm manufactured for one thing, does that mean I'm trapped? What if I hate the thing I'm supposedly built for? Or what if I'm good at 20 different things? That feels paralyzing, not freeing.
That is the tension, isn't it? But complexity doesn't negate design, it deepens it. Think about Dr. Miles Monroe's work on potential. He always distinguished between what you do, your job, your career, and your purpose. Your job is what you are paid for. Your purpose is what you are made for. Musonda-Salati touches on this beautifully. She suggests that your gifts, your passions, and even your pain are clues. It's not about being trapped in one narrow role. It's about the underlying function. A teacher might fulfill their purpose in a classroom, or writing a book, or mentoring a neighbor. The form changes. The function, to illuminate minds, remains the same.
So you're saying we get hung up on the job title when we should be looking at the impact. That actually leads to something I found really interesting in the book. Musonda-Salati talks about waiting seasons, and I have to be honest, I hate waiting. In our culture, waiting means you're failing. If you aren't moving forward, you're falling behind. How do we reconcile a God-given purpose with sitting in a hallway for 5 years with nothing happening?
The waiting room is where the real work happens. It is arguably the most important chapter in identifying your purpose. We view waiting as passive, like sitting in a dentist's office reading an old magazine. But scripturally and psychologically, waiting is active. Look at the prophet Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2:3 says, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." The text doesn't say sit there and rot. It implies an alert, expectant tension. It is the difference between loitering and being a sentry on a watchtower.
A sentry on a watchtower? That implies you're watching for something specific. You aren't just sleeping.
Precisely. Musonda-Salati frames these waiting seasons as preparation grounds. If you were given the weight of your destiny today, it might crush you. You might not have the character to sustain the success you crave. So the waiting is God's way of building the infrastructure of your soul so it can hold the weight of the blessing later.
That reminds me of the Napoleon Hill concept, the definite chief aim. He talks about having this burning desire and a specific goal, but Hill is very go get it, make it happen. How does that aggressive energy fit with this spiritual idea of waiting? Can you have a definite chief aim while you're stuck in a waiting season?
You absolutely can, and I would argue you must. Napoleon Hill's concept in Think and Grow Rich is about focus. It's about organizing your energy so it isn't dissipated. In a waiting season, your definite chief aim might simply shift from external achievement to internal development. You might say, my aim right now is to become the most resilient, faithful version of myself. You are still aggressive about your growth, even if the external circumstances haven't shifted yet. You are preparing the vessel.
I like that reframe. It makes the waiting feel productive. But let's talk about the mechanism of that preparation. In the book, there's a strong thread about identity and how we see ourselves. And this brings to mind Neville Goddard. He was all about imagination creating reality, that you have to live in the end. It sounds a little woo-woo to some people. Is Musonda-Salati suggesting we just imagine ourselves into a better life?
It's deeper than just daydreaming. Neville Goddard's core teaching was that imagination is God in man. He believed that to change your world, you must first change your concept of yourself. If you view yourself as a victim or as someone who is constantly overlooked, you will subconsciously sabotage every opportunity that comes your way to prove yourself right. Musonda-Salati aligns this with a biblical worldview. She challenges readers to see themselves through God's lens. When God looks at you, He doesn't see the mistakes or the delay. He sees the finished product. Living in the end in this context is actually an act of faith. It's Hebrews 11:1. Faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see.
So living in the end isn't deluding yourself. It's agreeing with God's vision of you before it manifests physically. It's walking into a room with the confidence of the person you're becoming, not the person you used to be.
Exactly. It is aligning your internal posture with your external promise. If you believe you are called to be a leader, you start leading now, even if you are only leading yourself. You treat people with dignity. You show up on time. You cultivate the habits of the person you intend to be. That is how you merge the practical definite chief aim of Hill with the spiritual living in the end of Goddard.
Here is the roadblock: fear. It's the one thing Musonda-Salati really tackles head-on in identifying your purpose. We can have the vision, we can have the theology, but when it comes time to actually step out, we freeze. Why is fear so good at disguising itself as wisdom or caution?
Fear is intelligent. It knows your vocabulary. It doesn't scream, run away. It whispers, you should just do some more research first. Or, the economy isn't right for this. Or, what if you look foolish? Napoleon Hill called this drifting, allowing fear to make you passive. He argued that the majority of people are drifters because they let fear dictate their decisions. Musonda-Salati addresses this by pointing to the root of fear, which is often an identity crisis. If your identity is built on your performance, you will be terrified of failing. But if your identity is built on being a child of God, failure becomes just feedback. It loses its sting.
That's a critical distinction. Failure as feedback versus failure as a verdict on your soul. I think about Isaiah 40:31, which is referenced in these discussions often. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. Eagles don't flap frantically. They ride thermal currents. They use the wind. Is that what finding your purpose feels like? Does it stop being a struggle?
I wouldn't say the struggle disappears, but the nature of the struggle changes. You stop fighting against yourself and start fighting for something. That is the shift. When you are drifting, everything is hard because you are going against the grain of your own design. When you are aligned with your purpose, you still face obstacles, maybe even bigger ones, but you have that why that Viktor Frankl spoke of. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. The wind might be strong, but because your wings are spread in the right direction, that same wind lifts you higher instead of blowing you over.
Let's ground this for the listener who is thinking, okay, I want that wind. I want that alignment. Musonda-Salati talks about looking at your pain as a clue. That's a hard pill to swallow. How does the worst thing that happened to me become my purpose? That feels unfair.
It feels unfair if you look at it through the lens of comfort. But if you look at it through the lens of contribution, it makes sense. Your pain often reveals the specific problem in the world you are uniquely equipped to solve. The person who struggled with addiction and survived has a specialized authority to help others in that pit, an authority a doctor who has never touched a drug simply does not have. Your scars are your credentials. In identifying your purpose, the invitation is to look at your wounds not as shame, but as soil. What can grow from there? Who can you help because you have been there?
It turns the focus outward. That's the other big takeaway I got from the book. Purpose isn't about me feeling good. It's about overflow.
Yes, this is the law of contribution. If you look at nature, nothing exists for itself. The sun doesn't shine for itself, it shines to warm the earth. The tree doesn't eat its own fruit, it feeds others. If you try to hoard your life, you become stagnant, like a pond with no outlet. Musonda-Salati emphasizes that true purpose always ends in service. If your dream is just about you getting famous or rich, it's not a purpose, it's an ambition. Purpose creates legacy. It plants trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit.
That is a convicting metric. Is this just for me? If the answer is yes, you might be ambitious, but you aren't purposeful. I want to circle back to one thing before we close. The book title is Identifying Your Purpose. Identifying sounds like an investigation. For someone listening right now who feels completely lost, like they are in the fog, what is the first step of that investigation today? Not in 5 years, but today.
The first step is silence. You cannot hear a whisper in a hurricane. You need to disconnect from the voices of social media, your parents' expectations, and your own insecurities. Take 10 minutes, sit with a blank sheet of paper, and ask the dangerous question. If I had no fear of failure, and if money was no object, what problem would I love to solve for others? Then look backward. Look at what you have survived. Look at what makes you angry when you see it in the news. Your anger is often a clue to what you are called to fix. God rarely gives you a detailed map, but He always gives you a compass. That anger, that passion, that grief, those are the needles on the compass.
Your anger is a clue. That is powerful. We usually try to suppress it, but maybe we should be listening to it. It's pointing at the broken thing we are supposed to mend.
Precisely. And trust the timing. Remember Ecclesiastes. He has made everything beautiful in its time. You are not late. You are not behind. You are in process. If you are breathing, God is not done with you.
I think that's the word someone needed to hear right now. You are not late. It is so easy to feel expired before you've even begun. This has been such a rich conversation, and honestly, we've only scratched the surface of what's in the book. There is so much more depth in the chapters on spiritual warfare, on the specific ways to cultivate your gifts, and on building that daily walk with God.
There is. Identifying your purpose is really a companion for the journey. It's not a book you read once, it's one you go back to when the fog rolls in again.
We encourage you to pick up a copy of Identifying Your Purpose by Mirriam K Musonda-Salati. Let it challenge you. Let it bother you a little bit, because that bother is the beginning of movement. Thank you, Eleanor, for unpacking this with so much wisdom today.
Thank you, Layla. It's always a privilege to talk about the things that matter most.
And to everyone listening, remember, you are not an accident. You are not here to just pay bills and die. There is a design. There is an intent. Go find it. We'll see you next time.
Wow, what a powerful episode. A big thank you to my two guests for joining me today. Your insights were a true blessing. And thank you to every listener for being here. If this episode helped you, share it, subscribe, and come back for the next one. This is Purposefully Living with Mirriam K Musonda-Salati. Stay encouraged, stay aligned, and until next time, keep living on purpose.